Day 2 of the Singapore World Championships in the books, and we've got Summer McIntosh hitting her second of potential 5 gold medals. Gretchen Walsh going the second fastest time of all time, and some drama in the semi-final swims to get through as we preview tomorrow's finals. Plenty of racing to talk about. Let's jump straight in. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast, our second daily upload during these World Championships. It was great to see so much reaction, interaction over on the YouTube channel after day 1's racing. There's a lot more racing to get through on today's shows. We've got 4 individual finals to go through, semi-finals as well to talk about, and Brit Watch is going to be a little bit doom and gloom today, I'm going to be honest with you. But we're going to spin positive narratives. We're going to look for progress. And yeah, lots to get through, Dan.
Yeah, like I got a bit of a bittersweet sort of feeling. Like you saw an amazing swim from Gretchen Walsh, for example. Summer McIntosh did what she does. And then the Brits maybe not quite firing as well as they did yesterday.
There was one really good one.
One good one, of course, which we'll get to.
We will absolutely.
But yeah, we shouldn't dawdle because there's a lot to go through.
Now, before we jump into today's episode, I do want to let you guys know that the Propulsion Swimming Podcast is brought in partnership with One Flow Aquatics out in Summer Bay, the newest destination for your warm weather training camps out in the Red Sea in Egypt. And if you are interested in booking your next training camp now, you can follow the link in the show notes of this podcast. But like you said, Dan, there's lots to get through on today's episode. So we're going to start with the men's 100 meters breaststroke. Qin Haiyang takes the gold in this one against... We spoke about it in yesterday's episode, so I don't want to speak about it too much. But Martinenghi, who got DQ'd yesterday and reinstated, we have a 9-swimmer final. Doesn't make sense to me. Just doesn't make sense. If you reinstate him, you bump the 8th place swimmer. Stick to your guns. That's my personal opinion. But Martinenghi swims. He took this out really, really hard. Fantastic start. Good first 50, but Qin Haiyang wasn't phased whatsoever.
Yeah, and going back to your Martinenghi thing, obviously he's then stolen a medal, if you like, because Casa Corbeau came 4th, probably should have been bumped to a bronze. But whatever.
Stolen if you think he's DQ'd.
Yes, of course, yeah, well, we'll skate over that now. But going to the race, I think Martinenghi did actually a really good job. 58.5 is a really good swim. It's just the back-end speed of Qin. I suppose his first 50 I thought was somewhat kind of comfortable, knowing what he's more than capable of doing over a 50-meter swim. He found that comfortable and then had enough to chase down Martinenghi at the end. I was relatively surprised he didn't go a sub 58. Actually, I kind of was half expecting that.
I was going to say,
he hit
do you
the
think
same time as the semi, I think.
Do you think a 58.2 has gone under the radar slightly? Because I actually think that's a very good time.
I suppose the problem is he's done 57, so he had that purple patch a number of years ago now, and he was hitting 57s for fun. So in my head, I'm like, he should be able to hit 57s every time at will. And that's maybe what I'm stuck in mentally.
His interview with John Mason afterwards, it didn't sound like his body's in a comfortable space. Like he said he's tired. He said he's hurting. Albeit I don't think his English is fantastic. But for him to have finished his first race first event of... There's 3 individuals and a relay he's going to be doing, first of 4. And for him to be saying, already I'm tired, it's like, okay.
Doesn't bode well.
58.2 then is quite good. And I mean, the 200 breaststroke, I think, is a little bit more open now. You've got no Zach Stubblety-Cook, you've got no Leon Marchand. He's kind of head and shoulders in that one. But
well, you say that. There's a lot of Japanese swimmers in the 200s. But
we'll
get to that on another day when that race is, yeah.
I think as a whole, though, I think Qin's time's gone under the radar and also the whole field. You've got a whole podium here, sub 59, which is starting to become the norm, which last this Olympic cycle, we would have really sat up and gone, oh, hang on, everyone is closing in on PT. I know we've got no PT at this World Championships. We don't know when he's going to be back at a World Championships. He said he's going because the 50 is now part of the program. Is the 100 still part of the program? I think it still will be.
I think it has to be, doesn't it?
I think it still will be.
Including
the medley relay as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's more than capable, Adam, obviously, of hitting his 58s when he's on top form. So he could easily win gold in LA, potentially, if these guys are still going 57s by that point, potentially, or low 58s like they are now. PT can do that. But, yeah, I don't know if that's just my mentality because Qin used to be able to do 57s at will. And so I was kind of expecting him to go quicker through the rounds. He's not far off. I just thought he'd go quicker through the rounds, maybe take the first 50 out a little bit harder, and then come back just as strong. That was my thought process. But he's done enough to win, and ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
First gold medal of the week for China.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be many more as well.
Women's 100 meters freestyle, and speaking of first gold medals, this is the first gold medal for Team USA. I think we spoke about yesterday food poisoning. There's gastroenteritis, stomach bug, whatever, going through the camp. And Gretchen Walsh wins in a 54.73, which is the second fastest time of all time. A fantastic swim. And actually, she took this out really, really hard, really fast. She turned under the world record split with what I can simply describe as a god-awful turn. She glided into it massively, and then potentially it's the effects of the stomach bug, what's going through Team USA, that she didn't come home to break the world record. I think a few of them, the way I'm watching a few of them race over already just 2 days, is they are taking it out fast and trying to hang on because they just don't know how much they've got left in the tank. She spoke in the interview afterwards, and it did sound like she's struggling for energy.
Great. Yeah, I mean, the first 50, let's say, goes strongly. Maybe that's part of the plan, but then they just can't hold on because they don't have the energy to be able to sustain because of this illness that they've got. I was actually watching her off the block, and she was the slowest off the block. What seems like by miles, but she always is, but by like 0.1 or 0.2, which is like massive. Maybe not that's
I mean, it's not massive, but it's decent in reaction times to then be coming up so far ahead.
Yeah, well, I think the first 50 for her was about right. If you obviously improve the reaction by a 0.1, let's say.
But the first 50 would have been
good.
Even better.
Maybe because of the turn, that kind of hindered the speed afterwards, because obviously, as you know, the faster you go in, the faster you come out. But you're losing speed with the glide going in, then you've got to try and force the speed back up again. She's done better turns, in summary. But yeah, she's the quickest swimmer and the best turner in the world right now. There's no one that can get close at all.
I do wonder if her program becomes a little bit more limited. Does she still do the 50 fly, the 100 free, the 50 free? Does she do all of these individuals combined with the women's medley relay? I think the American team will have been stung by the fact that they didn't win the freestyle relay yesterday. Is she potentially, like, we'll know later on as this meet goes on, but I don't think we'll see a double. Unless she gets healthier as the meet goes on, there's a good chance of that.
Yeah, I suspect, as a wild guess here, she'll stick with the 50s and she'll try and do the relays, and she might bin the 100 free. In terms of medals, that'll be our hardest one to win. Yeah. The 50 fly is, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but extremely very close to being likely to win that. 53 probably in the same boat maybe as well. I know there's other swimmers out there, but yeah, that's probably the way I would approach it if this illness is as bad as what she's saying, because then if you try and do a full schedule, it's then going to hinder everything. So maybe picking and choosing is the right way. But yeah, 54.7 being ill is a fantastic swim. She's won that by over a second.
This world record is just going to get lower and lower as long as she's swimming.
Yeah, definitely.
We spoke about Summer McIntosh doing Ledecky things to a 200 field yesterday. She's done Ledecky things to a 100 field.
Yeah.
Like, it's phenomenal swim.
It is crazy. When you're winning a 100-meter race by near enough a body length, it's staggering. Honestly, it really is. And I just wonder how low this record can go. Are we going to see eventually a sub 54? That sounds mental for me.
If some of the skills get right.
Well, that's just it. I think the first 50 was actually really good, and then just the turn suffered, and the illness potentially as well. So there's more to give. It's just a shame it's gone that way, I guess.
Men's 50 meters butterfly. I've got the bragging rights, Dan, because I called this one going into the games, and Grousset wins it, albeit,
I mean,
absolute stinker of a finish. And yes, it was 0.03 that he won.
I expected it to be that close, if I'm honest. It was going to be that close.
Yeah, it was always going to be that close. But the weirdest... Yes, it was an absolute stinker and a glide of a finish. The weirdest thing for me of this 50 meters butterfly, Maxime Grousset breathed at 35 to go. And at 35 to go, he went past Ponty. So now I'm looking at this, and if I'm a coach, I'm just looking at Grousset, and I'm just going, do we have to not breathe in a 50 fly? Is that the correct strategy, like oxygen deprivation? If we've always talked about sprinting is changing with Cam McAvoy and how that's changing. Someone's just gone at 22.4 for for a 50 meters fly with a breath.
Yeah, obviously it's better to breathe because you need the oxygen for the muscles to work.
It's meant to slow you down, but he kicked on.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what the oxygen does, I suppose. Normally in fly, when you breathe forward, your hips drop. The only reason it didn't affect someone like Phelps, for example, I think he was double jointed, and so his hips didn't actually drop
Gretchen's
when he.
The same.
Yeah, when he took a breath, he didn't actually drop his hips, so he could breathe as much as he wants. Whereas on a 50, you want your hips to be as high as possible for the entire duration of your 22 seconds, and usually a breath kind of hinders that. So I'm still baffled. I still wouldn't, if I was a coach, I still wouldn't teach this whole breathing thing. By all means, experiment with it. Maybe that was part of the plan, and he's experimenting and it's worked. Maybe he'll take it forward with him next year and in towards LA as well. But interesting. I would never thought to have taken a breath on a 50 at all.
No, nor would I. Genuinely, I was watching it and I saw him breathe. I go, oh no, he's lost. And then with 5 to go, you're just like, oh, he's won by a mile. And then the finish happened and it wasn't a mile.
By a mile, yeah.
Should we talk about Ponti then? Because his start in this, yes, he's won the silver. His start in this was phenomenal for me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say he battered Ben Proud off the start, but he was half a body length ahead of Ben Proud off a start.
Yeah, I think regular listeners...
Is he the best starter in the world?
Well, regular listeners to this, I've always said Dressel was the best starter, or is, he's still going, and then Proud Ben is always the second best. I might have to readjust and say Ponti is now either first or second, because he took a chunk out of some of the best starters you see, sprinters. Yeah, scary sort of stuff. I mean, he was showcasing how good his underwaters were at short course meets, and he's showcased it again off the start. This is technique. It looks more bobby. His head was moving more.
Well, even
than
when
he's
he's racing,
Grousset.
it's aggressive.
Yeah.
There's no. He is a very smooth fly swimmer, but there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of aggression in that going on.
Yeah.
It's not
But
as
then when you look
streamlined
at-
as you'd expect.
But then when you look at the underwater phase of, let's say, Jordan Crooks, his whole body is moving, and maybe that's what he's trying to emulate.
But the thing with Ponti was it wasn't just his underwaters where his head was moving. Like during the fly stroke,
swim.
he's bouncing up and down as if he's breathing, but he's not coming out of the water.
Yeah.
Which is...
It's interesting.
Maybe we do a full video on this. Maybe
Yeah.
we look at the different sprinting technique of Grousset and Ponti and combine them two together, because the head position was massively different. We're not going to do it justice on an audio, albeit visual for YouTube podcast, are we, without the footage?
I mean, everyone's technique is going to be different, whatever works for them, and it works for those particular swimmers the way they actually do it. But it's interesting to always compare different ways, and so people watching the video will then take away, oh, let's try it this time, let's try it this way, and then work out for yourselves. But interesting race. Shame Ponti didn't win to ruin my prediction, but it is what it is. Second by point, what's that, 0.03, so close, very close.
Check on rounds out the top 3 as well. Britt, watching this one, we spoke a little bit about Ben Proud. For me, he was only, 5 thousandths or 500ths. Sorry, he was only 500ths off the British record that he set yesterday in the semi-finals. For me, some of the skills weren't bang on. His breakout looked a tiny bit late, which might be why Ponti was so far ahead of him.
He actually broke out first as well, which
I
wasn't expecting. It was like a half meet or too early almost. Yeah, I know what you're saying with that, yeah.
He almost came to the surface a little bit too soon, and the finish wasn't quite on a full stroke. But he loves racing the 50 fly, but I don't think this is the one that he's honed in on just yet.
Yeah, I'd maybe argue the finish. The finish looked okay, but the breakout wasn't quite right. And of course, that's at the very start of the race, which then has a knock-on effect with everything else. So you can't. Yeah, you got 22 seconds to try and put everything absolutely right. And if you mess up one little bit, especially at the start, it's going to hinder. So, but still, to go 22.79 and be fractions off the British record, which he set yesterday, overall quite good. 5th, I think it was in the end, wasn't he? 4th, 5th,
Yeah,
something
5th.
like that. Yeah, so and that's what happens. If you don't get something right, then it doesn't quite work out for you and results don't quite happen. But he should be quite happy, I think, with that. Bodes well for the 53 later on.
Blows off the cobwebs, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Women's 200 metres individual medley then. Summer McIntosh watch. You've got her second gold medal of these championships, of which she's aiming for 5 individuals. She goes a 2:06.69, which looks like a fantastic time. Not that Summer McIntosh would have told you that. At the end of the race, she was deadpan, stone face. And I actually think, listening to the interview afterwards, fairly pissed off with the time. I think she expected better. She tried to give it a media spin of I've just got the gold, but she was holding back that she was annoyed with the time, in my opinion. Personally.
Very confusing race all round from her, really. So she took out the fly, and you think, all right, she's really going aggressively here by like half a second faster than what she did at Canadian trials. But then finished the backstroke leg over half a second over the world record. You think that's usually the leg that you pushed on to break this world record. So I'm not quite sure she's playing around with tactics. And then the breaststroke leg maybe didn't look as good because Alex Walsh was coming back at her.
I think Alex Walsh looked phenomenal.
Yeah, she's a good breaststroker. Summers, that's her weakest stroke, admittedly. And then the freestyle was a freestyle. So it's always going to be that good. But yeah, I don't know what... Was she happy with the time, the way she swam it? I'm not quite sure. Something wasn't quite right, but she still won by 2 seconds.
I was going to say, at 150, Alex Walsh was on her shoulder at the turn. Was there a chance this was ever in doubt? I mean, no. No. I did enjoy the commentators that we listened to over here in the UK. They did try their very best to get people to think that Summer was under threat. But I think every swimming fan will have known that, yeah, she's just going to leave her on the freestyle, especially the way that her freestyle's going right now. So they tried their very best. But I suppose the questions are, what was the problem with that race? I'd love to know what she found wrong. 2066.
So,
it doesn't look like a problem to me.
No, that's what I thought. So something was wrong. The only thing that I just said, obviously the backstroke leg wasn't as strong as what she did previously. Maybe that was what she didn't like.
Maybe we've gone through her whole 200 meters individual medley world record on a previous podcast episode actually, and there's a little clip of it out there on our YouTube channel if you haven't watched it. But we talked about the pacing at the front end and said, yes, maybe she can take the fly out harder, but she'll pay for it on the backstroke or later on maybe even on the freestyle leg and take the legs out from underneath her. Potentially that's what happened because she has gone a fast fly leg before, I think on her very original world junior record that she hit.
Yeah, that's right.
In 2021, I think it was. Might even been just a little bit after that. But her recent swims, it seems like she's tempered her fly speed a little bit to hold something back for the backstroke and the breaststroke leg. And maybe it was a bit more excitement that got the better of her.
Yeah, this is why I can't work out the reaction, because if you've gone into this race with an experimental approach of attacking the fly and see what kind of happens after that, then you'd be like, oh, well, I've won, yay. And that tactic didn't quite work the way I wanted. Go back to the drawing board and work something out. But yeah, I think you're right. She was really disappointed or not happy with that swim.
That's from the poolside interview we've seen. There might be another one out there now with Canadian media, and actually maybe. I know looking at our podcast analytics and deep diving into it as we've been going through these World Championships, we've actually got quite a big Canadian audience now. So let us know in the comment section on YouTube, like if you're watching this overnight here in the UK, and we'll answer it in the morning, what the reaction's been over in Canada. Like, has she spoken to the Canadian press? And it's actually the instinctive reaction straight after the race on poolside, which is a very raw reaction you get from a swimmer. Maybe that's changed a little bit. I think this is a hugely impressive gold medal. And like we said yesterday, I think if there's a world record she's really going for, to fly. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is, because when I used to swim and I was aiming for a new PB or whatever time I was trying to go for and you didn't hit it, immediately you're just going to be like, oh, and you'd be really annoyed, wouldn't you? So maybe that's what she felt. But yeah, do let us know, and maybe we are misreading this in some sort of way. Our Canadian fans need to let us know.
Britwatch. Abby Wood, 6th on... This is the women's 200 meters individual medley is a deep event, 6th. But her trial swim, I think, would have got her 2nd, maybe even bronze. I haven't checked completely back.
Yeah, podium.
It would have podiumed, and she said after trial she wanted to back up her April swims. It didn't happen tonight. She went to 2:09.92.
Just didn't click, ultimately. I don't know what the reasoning was. It's just a shame, because if she did do that same trials time, which we were really, really hyped up about, because that was a new PB at the time, or still is her PB, obviously, it would have got a podium, which would have been, I think that would have sent her confidence through the roof. And actually, because she has this imposter syndrome sometimes, I think she actually told us of who she's actually swimming with, but she does belong in that final for one. And then actually to be on the podium or near the podium every time she swims it. It's just not to be. 2:09.9, she probably won't be very happy with that because that's a good second or over a second over a PB. But she can come again. She's got another couple of years to try and fix that and make it right anyway.
And that kind of rounds up tonight's finals on day 2 of the World Swimming Championships. We're going to take a quick ad break, and when we come back, we will review and kind of preview tomorrow's finals and tonight's semi-final swims, of which there's plenty of fast times to go through, and a bit of some bizarre 200-meter freestyle times. Okay, this week's episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast is brought to you in partnership with One Flow Aquatics out in Summer Bay. Me and Dan have been speaking about One Flow Aquatics out in Summer Bay for a little while now. They've been a partner of this podcast since almost the turn of the year, when we first went out to Egypt to experience what it's like going on a training camp without me and Dan training. Let's put that bluntly. We didn't train in the pool, but we went there to experience the 50-meter pool that's on offer, the 25-meter pool that's on offer, the outdoor gym, of which there's 2, indoor gym, 2 lovely hotels. We stayed on one which is associated to a golf course. I know there's another sports-specific one that's now opened. It's brand new, and clubs can go there with different options in terms of like board that you can choose. There's so many different facilities away from the pool that Dan loved, including the marina and the food, Dan.
Obviously. That's the main reason we go, isn't it? We're not trying to sell the camp, we're trying to sell the food. No, obviously it's all part of it, isn't it? I mean, you go there for the training more so than anything else. But then there's the other things, like we say all the time, your go-karting, your food, your paddle that's now there. There's loads of activities that these guys can do. But going back to training, there's power towers as well. So everything you need, whether you're a distance swimmer, because the open water is also quite good out there. let's not mess around. That's quite good. And then your sprints as well, like there's power towers and the gym and all the rest of it. So it really is a dream location for, these are your elite swimmers we're talking about here, but also your club swimmers. The club swimmers, I think, will absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Since we've been there, when we visited in February, there was the Dutch national team there. There was the Italian national team there. There was the Monaco national team there, of which I actually think one of the Monaco swimmers from training, I think they spent a few months out in Summer Bay, medalled at the open water in the World Aquatics Championships. Of course, there was the open water out in Summer Bay that World Aquatics hosted there as well, which we got to experience a little bit out of. And of course, the Aquatics GB Performance Centre out in Manchester, along with a few other select swimmers, went and spent, I think it was close to 19 days out in Summer Bay to experience it. And if you're interested in joining this long list of clubs that have gone out there, you can follow the link in the description of this podcast, and that would take you over to sports agents, Sports Abroad, who can deal with your inquiry. Okay, Dan, semi-final time. I'm going to kick things off with the men's 100 meters backstroke tonight, which was a weird collection of swims, semi-final to semi-final. And it was kind of a pattern, actually, throughout the day, or throughout the evening swimming out in Singapore. Semi-final 1 had Klement Kalashnikov swimming under world record pace at the 50-meter mark and completely switching off in the last 10 meters to go a 52.2. Then the rest of the field were just nowhere near him, and a fair few of them missed out on the final tomorrow. For me, looking at the way Kalashnikov swam, I think he's favourite going into tomorrow's final.
Do you reckon?
It just looks so comfortable, and you're going to have to go past him to win. Like no one's going to match that first 50 speed that he's got. In my opinion, you're going to have to swim past him.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's for sure. And there's swimmers that can do that. We'll talk about Chacon later. But it's his reactions. I don't know if you saw his reaction. And actually, the start itself was very sort of loopy. So he was slowest off the block by 0.2. You think, right, well, that's 52.0 if you can sort that out right away. And then can sort out the sort of loop on start as well. And you think, oh, my God, he's going to go sub 52 without question in my head at the moment. So then is he favourite? I would say so, yeah. I mean, he's got so much more to give. What do I want to say about him? He's just... you're going to have to chase him down because you're not going to beat him to 15. You're not going to beat him to 25, 50. You've got to reel him in. But like I said, there are swimmers that can do that. Xiaoyu will not be one of them, I'm afraid. He missed the final.
Yeah, interesting permutations for that when we speak medley relay, mixed medley relay later on this week. We've got some calculations to do.
Yes.
Semi-final 2, though, Britwatch, Ollie Morgan, swim of the night for British swimming. He went into this semi-final, I think he qualified 9th from the heats, and he 9th, and it was a high 52, which was safely, comfortably through, unlike Thomas Chekon, who is determined to really give his coach a coronary. He always qualifies for an outside lane in the semi-finals, whatever he does. It's just, whether that's a tactic, and he really loves swimming on the outside.
Is it well judged, or is it luck? Because every time he's made it into the outside lane. Like, I don't think he's ever missed a semi-final or final.
But he's always outside lane.
Playing with fire a lot of the
when
time.
he set his world record, he was in an outside lane.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He loves an outside lane, does Thomas Chekon.
Madness.
Going back to Ollie Morgan, though, he then qualifies from this 4th, or he swims 4th in his semi-final, which qualifies 5th, which shows you how much faster the second semi-final was. A thoroughly professional job and a very, very smart swim, in my opinion. The lane draw was actually really good to him in this race. He was next to Chekon, the top half of the pool with Kutsia from South Africa as well. Really came home fast, and a 52.41. I still think there's more in the tank as well. Promising. Like we are genuinely excited for what can come. He is going to have to get down to low 52, maybe below to podium tomorrow, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's actually one of my questions, because this final is absolutely stacked.
Well, it took 52.6 to make the final.
Yeah, it's moved on, hasn't it? It's really moved on. Ollie's got himself a lane. So he's got a fantastic chance, and the aim is to go quicker through the rounds, of which he has done so far. I think he dropped, 0.4, I think, roughly speaking.
0.5, yeah.
0.5 from the heats, so if you can find another 0.5, he's then suddenly in the sub-52 area, which is then, for me, is a podium. But, he's got a fantastic shot. He's just got to be in the race, of which, if we're predicting Kleshnikov is going to be out there...
I think you're going to have to take it out hard.
You're going to have to go out quick. I think so as well, yeah. But for me, I think the star swim from these races is probably Kos, and he was my prediction for the 100. Yeah, he looked good, like solid. I don't think he put in 100%. I think he was just 90% the whole way.
See, for me, Kleshnikov was more impressive.
Do you reckon? Yeah. I suppose just because he literally could see him switch off. Yeah, I think Kos was a little bit more sort of steady throughout the whole race, maybe. And they both do the same time, 52.2. He qualifies fastest. Who is going to... I still think Kos is the favourite, even though you now think Kolesnikov. He just has that back-end speed, which is probably what's going to be needed to beat Kolesnikov because of his 200 prowess. It's going to be a fantastic race.
God knows what Chekon will do in an outside lane.
Well, I just think every lane is a big lane. It's great to see Ollie's in amongst all of those lanes. I think, was he 5th? So what's that, lane 6, is it? Something like that. So that's a pretty solid lane, really. Yeah. I think so. It's good. He's got a great chance. I'm looking forward to it. So it's a banging race.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great final tomorrow. It's probably... Is it going to be the first time my neighbours complain about my noise? Maybe. Quite possibly this week.
Especially if Ollie then goes some podiums or even wins. Yeah,
I've not had a complaint so far this week. If Ollie's anywhere on the turn, I will be jumping up and down and being very, very loud. Women's 100 metres breaststroke then. Unfortunately, we have no Angharad Evans in these semi-finals after a heat swim of a 107. And it was a weird semi-final swims again. Kate Douglas looked really, really strong. PB, back-end speed was really the difference. 105.49, and then the second semi-final was extremely close bar Tang, who took it out hard and just about held on, but it was slow. Like, it was really slow
in comparison. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
even the time to make the final, in my opinion, is fairly... I thought it'd be faster.
I'm trying to think, because the Olympics was won in 105.0. I remember the winning time, but I can't remember the time you needed to make the final. But a 66.1,
it might actually be a bit faster than the Olympics.
It feels about right, I would actually say.
Okay.
McSharry misses the final as well, unfortunately, so no home nation.
And she was top seed after the heats as well.
Yeah. So big names have missed out, but I think Douglas has to be... Well, she's going in fastest, isn't she? Yeah, going in fastest. The PB was a good swim. I liked her first 50. I think it was almost strong, easy speed, and that kind of helped the push on to the second 50. I think the danger swimmer actually is Chukanova, because she was miles behind at 50 and then reeled them all in. She's a 200 specialist, as is Douglas. But if she can take out the first 50 a little bit stronger and still come back like that, there's a danger that she could go and win that. But then there's other swimmers like Tang, you mentioned, who I think took it out hard and actually trying to work out whether she tied up. I think she did tie up, but the underwater phases looked good. We obviously we say Douglas's underwater phases are good,
really
but
good.
Tang, I'd like to see them next to each other, because I think they're pretty similar on those underwater phases. In terms of strength, should be a good race actually. The second semi-final was mad. I don't know what they were split by when you take Tang away, but from second to seventh, I think, were split by 0.15 or something. It was ridiculous. They all finished at the same time.
I was looking at it, and Jefimova, who I had no idea is only 18 years old, she's already been to 2 Olympics.
Yeah, it's mental. Yeah.
So she was second going into the last stroke, and I was like, oh, that's a fantastic swim. She's kind of outside Bernard this.
Yeah.
Really strong chance for the final tomorrow. And she went from second to fifth and missed out on the final. I was like, what on earth has happened?
Crazy, isn't it? I mean, this is why you sometimes you just got to play it safe and just make sure you're in the final, do what it takes. But and maybe she did. It's just the way it landed. But yeah, they were all split by fraction of a second, and that's why every millisecond counts when it comes to swimming. It's cutthroat, but should be a good final still.
Big shame that Ang Harrod missed. I'll be honest, big shame for Brit Watch that Ang Harrod missed on this one. Hopefully, she puts some rights wrong in the 200.
The better shot was in 100, admittedly, and for whatever reason it didn't quite happen, which was a shame. And I think she was talking about before about trying to save energy in the heats to try and do better, let's say, in the semi-finals and finals, or save energy throughout the rounds. But we don't know. We're kind of guessing because we haven't spoken to her, obviously. We don't know about coaches and what they've said. But
time will come. I am confident Ang Harrod's time will come, because she's a fantastic swimmer, and like her raw speed is phenomenal in the 100 meters breaststroke. Just one of those learning experiences. Just one of those learning experiences as you go through international swimming, I think.
Yep.
Women's 100 meters backstroke. Then this is the Kaylee McEwen, Regan Smith head to head, but the semi-finals, another weird one for me, because Kaylee McEwen had the better underwaters. She was first to 15 very comfortably, and then the turn, usually it's Regan Smith who kicks on and then Kaylee McEwen chases her home. Actually, they were exactly the same off the turn. So Kaylee McEwen has definitely be targeting the underwater swims. But Regan Smith on the water in semi-final looks better. In final, I still have this Australian faith that Kaylee McEwen will do it, although Smith looks strong. I'd say it's wavered slightly.
She did, yeah. I mean, based on what we saw in that semi-final, we're going to have to say Kaylee's going to be ahead at 15. Her stroke rate is not as high as Regan's.
No.
Maybe that's because she's a better, I would say, 200-meter swimmer. And that is her stronger event. I think we've said this for a while. Oh, she's good at 50, 100 and 200. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to go, but I still have faith in Kaylee McEwen as well, for some reason, even though Regan looked as good as she did.
I'm ready to be proved wrong.
Yeah, well, so am I, actually. I am closer to... This is my usual event of coin flipping, and we're back to sort of close to a coin flip here of who's going to win this. But the stroke rate saved. I think the stroke rate actually helps Regan get the better of Kaylee in this situation, because, yeah, like you say, on the surface, she was quicker, definitely. But on the second 50, they were the same. So maybe Kaylee was holding back on the first 50. I don't know, but they've got more in the tank. I mean, 58s for those girls is comfortable, I think. They're going to go 57s for sure, which made me wonder, like, Kylie Mass went 58.6. Is that got a dark horse written in it in some sort of way?
No,
I don't know if it is.
They were in the second semi-final, and they were, I think, head and shoulders across the rest of the field, because I didn't see the rest of the field.
Yeah,
I didn't really watch the rest of the field. And Kathleen Burkhoff, while she's certainly in there for the 50, I think she really paid for her early speed. She might put a bit of pressure on these two, but she didn't come home looking the strongest. To be
she is a 50 specialist, mind you. Yep. Maybe she switched off because she was so far ahead in that semi-final. So maybe she's a dark horse. But really, it's a 2-horse race, as it has been for a number of years now. But I've still got Kaylee because, I don't know, she's formidable in these finals. And I just wonder if Reagan can get this monkey off her back and actually beat her in one of these major finals. It could be the case tomorrow, we'll see. But the underwaters have improved from Kaylee, and she needed to improve those because Reagan was incredible at them. Well, she is still. I don't know why I said was. Yeah. She still is, yeah.
Then we rounded out night 2 with the men's 200 meters freestyle. Semi-finals here were tactically swam, is how I would put this. A lot of swimmers not showing their hand and a lot of swimmers paying the price, to be perfectly honest with you. A lot of the case, it was swimmers waiting and watching for the first 100 meters because in fact, all of them bar one, I'm pretty sure, the first 100 split was a 51 point, which that is
I think you're right.
fairly slow. 51 point or above. The only swimmer who was under 51 was Huang Sunwu, who actually paid the price for it.
Yeah,
weirdly
like
enough, he went out in a 50. Yeah, he usually does take it out. I'll say this really quickly. I hate his technique. It's really bad.
The breathing is strange. It's like a little twitch.
It's
I don't
really
know what it
jerky. I'm not a fan of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that wasn't there last time he swam, I swear.
It's a strange tactic if we stick with him for a second because I think he helped the entire field in that first semi-final. Like if you watch the race, he was in lane 6, I think, so he had the bottom part of the pool, and he dragged everyone else around him and actually helped someone like Hobson in the middle. It's like, oh, he's my gauge, lovely. He a bit like what Tom Dean did with him in Tokyo. It's like, lovely, I've got a guide here. I'll just follow him and then just take him on the end. So strange tactics. I mean, he's made the final, which is, I suppose, goal number 1, but it's not the way I would have done it. But then again, you've got some swimmers who chose to do it, let's say, correctly and pace it, and have paid the price. So
yeah, the
make of it what you will.
Swimmer going into tonight or tomorrow night's final is a 1:44.8.
Yeah,
which I saw that first semi-final and it was slow, and I just go, oh, Jimmy, no. Jimmy's in 5th at this point, and a 1:45.50, and you. Yeah. To be fair, looking at how the race panned out and on his final length, he was breathing away from the rest of the field. I actually think he did quite well. And then second semi-final, there was no one like Huang pushing the pace. I saw them turn at 150, and I thought, holy moly, Popovic has closing speed, has really had closing speed, and Popovic turned at 100, and it was like a 51 low. And
it was interesting watching him. Because I think he had a tactic. Because he was going to go out quite strong. You could kind of see the stroke rate was quite high, and then he got to 25 meters. I'm trying to remember because he saw the red things, and you could see a switch. It's like
he just switched off.
Instantly changed tactics after 25 meters, and then suddenly after that he brought everyone. Yeah, no one went with him, and then he switched off, turned off, and then he brought everyone back level, and then did what he does in the last 50, 26.4. I think I've written down here, which is obviously very good. But I think he had a plan at the start and then had to readjust because didn't have anyone following him. It's like, oh, I don't actually need to go as quick as I had planned in my head here. I'll just go, I think he went a 45.0. Like for him, that's a 2-second PB plus 2. Like really comfortable, really. So yeah, very, very bizarre, I think. I think Jimmy had a tough lane position only because Huang did what he did because he was on the other side of the pool. So that didn't really help, but he's got a lane in a final, which is what you need.
And Matt Richards doesn't have a lane in the final because that second semi-final was just so slow.
Yeah, I don't think Matt pushed the third 50 hard enough.
I think he was watching Popovic the whole time, and given what Popovic has swam this year, I think maybe it was unfortunate that I don't know that he watched him too much, but it was unfortunate that that whole of that semi-final was...
Tactics play a role, don't they? It's not always about time. It's just getting your hand on the wall and doing the job that's necessary. I think Matt didn't push the third 50 hard enough. He did fine on the final 50, but left himself too much to do, I think. But 1:45.8 isn't going to make a final, as it's clearly not. But only he and his coach will know what went wrong.
I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any question of he's not in form and his taper's not right and he's not capable of a 1:44. He was good in the relay because the relay yesterday. Yeah, what was it? It was a low 47.
47. Yeah.
Which is bang on. He was exactly where Duncan Scott was in that relay. You're asking nothing more. I think it's a case of a slow semi-final just caught him cold.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of swimmers in that second final who got caught out.
Yeah. You either go in with the mentality of playing the field, a bit like what Hobson did, or you have your own tactic and you stick to it, a bit like what Haiyang did. So you've got to pick and choose, and luckily for Popovic, I think he had a plan going in, changed it midway through, and I don't know what really happened with Matt. Only Matt will be able to tell us, like I said earlier. So unfortunate, because I thought he had a great chance of podium. So it's a massive shame. Massive shame.
I think he'll come out with vengeance in the 100 free for one.
Hopefully,
individual.
Yes.
I think he will leave nothing to chance there and just bomb the whole blooming thing. And then 4x2. Because there's a better swim than that at Singapore for him in the 200 meters free.
Yeah, yeah. With Matt out, then I generally think it's a bit of more of a straight shootout, especially the way that they swam it. Hobson and Popovic are your clear top two for me now, unless you disagree and you throw Haiyang in there, for example.
Not the way he swims it.
No.
And then Hobson swims it like Hobson's going to have to swim it like Haiyang to beat Popovic, in my opinion. And I think this is Popovic.
I just don't know. I can't really see past those top two right now.
No.
Who will win? I suppose Popovic is still favourite for me, but it's extremely close. Very close.
Let us know in the comment section below if you disagree, who you're picking for the 200 meters freestyle tomorrow. Hobson, Popovic, can Jimmy Guy get back onto a podium after he first won this event in Kazan all those years ago? I would love to see him do that. Tactics come into this, man. Tactics come into a 200 meters freestyle. It's not a time trial when it comes to World Championships. Like we often say in a preview, world records will come. I don't know that 144 might win this. Like a 144 low might well
possibly
win this.
Yeah, very similar to Paris. So it might be just you got to race a race, and
Absolutely.
Jimmy is more than capable of doing that for sure.
Okay, that just about rounds up tonight's episode from Propulsion Swimming. We will be back tomorrow, of course, reviewing day 3. Let us know in the comment section below any standout swims from night 2, if there are any seriously impressive semi-final swims that you're looking forward to tomorrow, and we'll get involved. Like we said, sociable hours for Singapore. We love it. Can we have all swimming meets at 12 o'clock midday, please? Because we've got the rest of the day to create content and talk about swimming. It's brilliant. But until then, guys, we will see you in 24 hours.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Propulsion Swimming Podcast with Scott and Dan. We want to thank you for joining us and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as checking out the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel for weekly tutorials and videos to get your swimming fix. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.